Hello everyone, and welcome to a new lab in software design. Today's lab is actually a review for most of the labs that we finished in using Raptor. So looking at the lab that we have for today, we have lab number 13. I already completed the lab, so I will go ahead and run it and just, have you look at what you get after you complete your lab. If I run my lab, look what I have first. I have my main method. I have the read input method. I have a calculate average basically method. This method is not complete, but I'm giving you hints. So from now on, we have only like a few weeks left, maybe less, and I need you now to create. You did learn the topic. Now it's time for you to create something without me giving you the instructions. So if you look here, I have a main method, commented, start, end, and then I have a method call to a method that is called input or read input. This is the method. I will explain that step by step. But if I go back to main, I have some calculation, and then I am displaying the average. So these two here, this one and this one, are basically hints for you. Hints. I put them here for you to use them somewhere else. Where? I'm asking you to create a method that takes an array as an argument. The name of this method is calculate average. So calculate average takes what? Takes an argument. You pass an argument to calculate average. What is the name of this argument? This argument is called scores, and this is an array. Where is this array defined? I already defined it in the read input method. So if I go to read input, you will notice here, this is the size of the array. I am declaring the size of the array as a constant. What is a constant? If you don't know what is a constant, go back to the very first lectures that we created, we discussed together. A value that stays the same throughout your program, right? And you need to follow the naming convention for a constant. All uppercase. You separate by underscore. And then I declared and initialized a variable that's called index. The value of this variable is 1. And then I started my loop. What kind of loop is that? I am processing an array. So that's right, for loop. So here I'm saying test. This is my test. This is my condition. If the index is greater than the number of scores, which is the constant I created here, if it is greater, that means that I cannot take this index and use it for each index of my array. If this is not clear, look at this here. Scores, index. So the first value is going to be 1. I told you in Raptor it starts from 1, but in Java it starts from 0. And then you increment. Second one will be 2. So that's the element. Do you know the component of an element? The base name for the array and the index number. That's basically what you get from the user. And then you keep looping until you process the entire size of your array. So going back here to main method, if you look, now I have the array ready. I already captured score 1, score 2, score 3, score 4, and I created a new variable that says score or total scores, and then I'm using the system.out.println, or I am outputting, I'm using the output shape here to display the average. So these two here, instead of having them here, you need to create them inside the calculate average. Look at the calculate average. I'm just doing two outputs. The first element is score 1. This is Raptor. Remember, this is not Java, so it starts from 1. Second element is 2. So let's go ahead and run this application. No, actually, do you know what? Let me stop it. I will stop it, and then I will run it step by step. I will go back to main. Look, the first step, you start, all right? Second step, you have a method call, read input. So once this is highlighted, the program will move to read input and then start executing the statements or the shapes in here step by step. So go back to my application. So look, when I press next shape, guess where this will go? It will go call the read input method. Remember, I have a comment section for each method. So next, now the method read input is being called. So I will start executing the code inside this method. So next, declaring a constant that is called num of scores. Someone might wonder, how did I create read input? So going back here, I will demo how do you create a method. So if you click on the call here and then put the shape for method call, double click on it. Actually, I need to stop executing the code. Stop, hold it, double click on method call. Now I should be able to call a method. I will create a method that's called Bob, for example, and then click OK. It says, do you wish to create Bob? Yes. So that is basically what I did for read input. So instead of creating a method that's called Bob, you will type read input, and then in Bob, let's say here number of scores 4 and index 1. So you have two assignments. Before you start Bob, you need to comment, right? So you go here and then comment, and then add your comment section, and then after that you click on OK. So you have two assignments. That's the first one. Second one, so go back to read input. Look, num of score. So basically you will go to the first assignment and then type here num of scores. Look, it appeared automatically, and then you set the value to 4. You put here 4. Alright? You do the same thing for the second one, and so on. So what is difficulty here that you might encounter? So this one, you know how to do it. You know how to do this one, the loop one. The loop is this section. So you will go to Bob here, and then you will take the loop and add it in your loop. What is your test condition? Let's go back to read input. As long as index greater than num of score, or do you know what? Once index is greater than num of score, if that's the case, get out of here, exit. If it is less than number of scores, so you need to keep track of the indexes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You ask the user to enter a value, and then you assign it to the variable for each section of the array. Scores 1, scores 2, scores 3, scores 4, right? And then you increment for each time, so you can keep looping. Once the value reaches 5, that's greater than 4, it will get out of here. Are we good? Okay. So now going back here to Bob, I need to double click here, and basically I will put my condition in here. My condition, index greater than, and then you know that number of scores, this is the variable that you need to declare. That's simple. Going back here, I have input. So in my input here, I will go take an input shape, put it after the condition, double click here, and then I will assign the value that I get from the user to scores. But I have open, close, square brackets, and then index. Okay. Alright. And then I put the question here, enter a score. Alright. That's basically what you need to do. So every time the user get through or pass this condition, the program will ask the user, give me a value based on the index. And then once the user enters the value, read input, you increment index. So this is easy. You go back to Bob here and then take an assignment, add it here, and then say index equals index plus 1. And actually take this one from here because we already have it index plus 1, and click OK. See how do you do it? So again, one more time, you double click, you say set index equals, you basically increment the index. Alright? And that's basically what you need to do for read input. It's that simple. So I don't need Bob anymore. So I will go to main, right click on Bob, and then delete. Go to Bob here, delete this one here because I don't need it. Now you know that I need you only to create read input, as you can see here. It has to be the same as you can see. However, now calculate average. This is tricky. This is tricky. It is something that you need to pay attention. I am asking you to create a method that takes what? That takes an argument. You pass an argument. Look, when you go to main, when you call this method, you must pass an argument. Alright? So you need to create a method that takes a parameter. When you call it, you call this an argument. When you create it, you call this a parameter. So how do you create the calculate average? This is something that you need to pay attention. First, you need to, this is not what you did before. You don't just go click on call and then click on call here, because this will give you a hard time in passing the argument, as you can see here. You will right click on read input because you already have read input created. Right click on read input and then click on add procedure. What is the name of your procedure? I will call it Bob2. Right? It takes a parameter. What is the parameter? Scores, right? Scores. Is this an array? Yes, it is an array. So if I cancel here, go back to calculate, and then look at the values I have in here. Look how I created it. When you pass just the reference of the array. Okay, so we're going back here. You right click and then add procedure, Bob2, and then scores. Without the opening and closing. Do you remember? Go look at the lecture. I explained that very clearly in the common errors that you need to avoid when you call your array. Once I click OK, now Bob2 takes, let's look at the definition of Bob2. Modify procedure, it takes scores. So if I go back here to main, let us call Bob2. So I will click on method call, add it, double click in here, and then I will call what? What is the name of my method? Bob2, open, close, parentheses, and between the parentheses, the scores. And then click on done. Do you know? Do you see? same thing, calculate average, BOP2 scores. You go to BOP2 scores. Actually, you don't call it BOP2, I'm just using a different name because I cannot create another method with the same calc average. So I'm using just a dummy name so you can understand how do you finish this lab. Now, what is the requirement for this task? You need to make sure that you create a chart here that calculates the average. If you don't know how, go to my main method here, watch this section. Watch this section. This is exactly tells you how to do it. So I'm expecting you to go to inside your calculate average, put these two in here, and then take this out of here and just have the calculate scores. I am showing you a demo here on how to insert or how to display the first element of the array and the second element of the array. So now I will go to main, right click on Bob, delete, right click on this one, delete. This is what I expect from you to have at the end. Actually, this also will not be here, so I will cut this from here, so you will have your final product will look like that. This starts and two method calls inside your read input. This is complete. Your calculate average, now you don't need to display, I'm showing that just for fun, but if you need to work on this one, you can, to practice looking on how to display each element of the array. So I will delete this one, and then I will go ahead and paste what I copied. So now that is what is required from you to submit. I did not show you how to do that, but you need to do that on your own. So running my application, start read input, going score loop, and then starting the first entry 100, and then 200, and then 300. That's the third one. I have one more left, 400. It will go to calculate average, and then the average will get displayed. It says here that the average is 250. Okay. Okay, now why you're not done yet? Go back here and then expand scores and look at the values for score. The scores array, the size of this array is 4. The first element of the array is 100, second 200, third 300, fourth 400. Alright? So how do you submit this lab? You go to each method, you click on it, file. Actually, you need to open Microsoft Word first. So I will go ahead and open Word, and then that is last name, first name, lab number 13. Or if you'd like to send me the RAP file, you can. So if I save this here, if I save it, yes. Look, lab 13. You can just save this as last name, first name, lab13.rap, or if you prefer to copy each one of them, so you give me enough room to look at your submission, you can also go to file for each method, print to clipboard, and then click OK, and then come here and tell me this is my main method. Actually, main cannot be, M cannot be capital, so I will go down here, paste, Control V. So that is the first one. You do the same thing for the second one. File, print to clipboard, and then click OK. Go back to my Microsoft or your Microsoft documents. Tell me this is read input method, and then paste that as well. So that's the second. One more left. You go to the third one, and then go to file, print to clipboard, and then click OK, and then go back here and type calc AV average, right, and then paste. But this one has to be commented. This is missing the comment. You are a programmer, you need to finish that on your own. I don't need to tell you each time. So this is basically a lab that is almost 90% complete. You need to complete the last 10%. You can also, if you don't like the way of submitting a Word document like this one, if you think that's too much, you can just upload the Raptor file immediately. But make sure that you name it last name, first name, lab 13. You go to you make sure that you save it in a place. It's inside documents folder, Raptor folder, and the name of the file is here. You can go to Blackboard and submit that under lab 13. Thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you in future tutorials. Bye bye.